chase them all away. Little children in the street, dying every day. We all look for something we can never find, and we all need peace of mind. Lonely wretch on the street, looking for love. $20 beneath the sheets. Is this all she thinks of? We all look for someone.
Hey, Timmy, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, pretty good here on the June 19th. I'm telling you, this is a hot one out there.
It was a scorcher today, man. It really was.
Yeah, it was. I tell you, I feel bad for the DPW guys hitting the streets and working the streets in this heat.
All those people are out there working today. I give you a lot of credit, man, because it was hot. I mean, I went out on my deck for a little while. I went in the pool, and I actually felt like crap. I was getting so hot, so I had to come back in the house. But it's good to see you again. And, I think by now everybody's learned about the passing of our good friend Billy Smith. So I just wanted to take a moment and send my deepest condolences to his wife and his son and, his family. I seen his mom the other day, went down to Robin's house and seen his mom. I mean, me and Billy been friends since, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Cohoes Community Center. And, we may have had some drag him out battles in politics because Billy was a passionate son of a bitch. He just wanted to make sure that, the people of this city got everything he thought they deserved. And he was a great advocate. And
he was a stand-up man. He loved softball. Okay, and he loved doing the basketball. I mean, Billy he was a friend of mine, and I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah, I'm going to miss him too. And I think the community's going to miss him as well. Even though he was no longer in the city council seat, he still took on everybody's issues and brought it forth so that, people felt like they had a good advocate. So, I just, hey, Billy, rest in peace. I'm going to miss you, and God bless you. And to his family, if there's anything that we can do, that we're here for you.
Yep, thank you. Yep, same
I
thing.
want to jump over to you. So, we were talking about softball, and the reason I was doing this is because I was thinking about Billy, but I took the boss out and out into the front, and I said, I'm just going to throw her this. I had one of those big plastic balls, and I said,
Right.
I want to see her.
And the word is your defense suffered.
Well,
Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Your defense.
listen, I used to be a lot better, but I got to show you. So
Okay.
I was thinking about Billy Smith. I'm going to blame Billy Smith. This was Billy's last laugh, I'm sure. Watch now.
Yeah.
Took one right into the old
Well,
mouth.
she certainly rang my bells.
Yes, he did.
You got to watch it one more time here, because I was out. I was laying on the ground, and I was like, "You just took Papa and you put him to the ground. Watch, bam!"
Yep. He sits
does-
on you.
It doesn't get any better than that. I'm proud of her, though. I mean, she's only 3 years old. She hit that ball so hard, and it hit me right in the ringer, and my ears were ringing. She hit it so hard.
He toppled you right on over. Good for her. The boss strikes back.
The boss, she sent me to my knees. Hey, let me just jump off for 1 second, Timmy. Hey, listen, if you like the show, I know it says Rumble. I don't know. We've been trying. We sent all our information in. Hopefully we'll be able to be on Rumble in the near future. But we're back on Facebook. We're still on YouTube. That's our main channel. Jump over, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get the notifications of all of our shows, and we'll look forward to it. Hey, so Timmy, take a look at this. I thought this was one of the outside of my ringers getting outside of my ringers getting rung and laughing. I'm driving down the highway and I look up and holy shit, there's a picture of Danny McCoy with this big sign that says liar. And I thought to myself, this has got to be a Brian Olsen thing. I don't know. For those of you who don't know Brian Olsen, he was the gun guy on the Vandenberg. and
Uh-huh.
and he started this campaign with these big billboards when he was calling out Cuomo and telling him to resign. He called him Mr. Fondler because he liked to fondle
Yeah.
all the women. So I'm driving down and I see liar, liar, pants on fire. There's like three different things flashing up there, and they're all about Danny McCoy. And they have a picture of Danny with Lee Kinlan, who's running for the DA because Danny supported Lee. And I look under and it says paid for by Brian Olson. And so, this all has to do with the DWI
Yeah.
that the deputy county executive, I believe that's who it was, got a DWI. And they talked to Danny about it. And, Danny stood by the guy and said whatever he said. I don't remember verbatim what I read in the paper. But, he said, hey, at the time they asked me questions. I only knew what I knew at that time. And that's what I told them. Now, a couple of days later, you learn more stuff. And that's the truth, right? Shit
Yep.
unfolds.
Happens all the time with us.
Right, all the time. And so I can understand it. But now you got Brendan Lyons, who's probably the biggest liar I've ever met in my life. He's
Yep.
the
Big time union liar.
the big shot for the Times Union, making
Yeah.
about $7.50 an hour.
Yeah. Liar,
that's
liar in
that's
chief.
$7 too much. Liar in chief. Now he's going after Danny, calling Danny a liar. There ain't no bigger liars than the Times Union.
That's
I lived
right.
it. I
Yep.
lived it. They'd
Yep,
write
I
stories
agree.
about me when they knew they were wrong. I knew they were wrong. Everybody knew they were wrong. They don't care. They have no moral compass.
Yeah. Kenny Crow, Chris Churchill, name them all.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't rely on those people. Okay. They twist your words. They're just no good.
Well, they just take words and make them up. And
Yeah.
so, I had a chance to speak with Danny. And the good part is that I reached out to him because I asked him to come on the show, as you know. And he's made a commitment to come on in 2 weeks for a
Yep.
live Wednesday night. So not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. And I think it'll be a great conversation. We'll talk about, the community center, maybe some politics, some other stuff going on that they're doing, with St. Rose. And I think it'll be a great show. So,
Yeah, that'll be July 3, I gather. Looking at the calendar.
yeah, it may be July 3. I'm
July
not
3 is a
sure.
Wednesday.
And I'll be-
July 3 is 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, and I'll be in Myrtle Beach, as you know. So I'll be trying to do my live from Myrtle Beach with McCoy. Hopefully that
You
works.
couldn't be further away.
Well, sometimes I got to get away from this city because it
Yeah.
drives me crazy. But so anyway, I want to call Brian Olson to see if we can get him on. But Brian, he doesn't return my calls no more. I don't know why, but I'll reach out to him again and ask him about his billboard. But hey, Danny, we've been friends a long time, but I had a laugh because Danny's getting it right now. He really is.
Yeah, he made Billboard.
He made a billboard. I told him anytime you can see your face up on a billboard, you've
Yeah.
made it big time. Don't worry
Yes,
about what it says about it.
Yes.
But I can imagine. Danny. He's a big tough guy. But look at all those big tough guys. You do have feelings, man.
Yes.
And you want people to like you. The whole time in politics, I always wanted people to like me, and unfortunately, a lot of them loved me, but a lot of them didn't like me because in order for me to get things done, I had to push people a little, further and a little harder than they wanted to be pushed. But hey, that's how you get shit done. I
Yes.
could have been a get along, go along, but I chose to get shit done. And I think Danny's he's taking some heat, but he's a big boy. He's been the county executive. He's outsmarted them all, Timmy, for a long time. He really has. So I look forward to having you, Danny. If you're watching the show tonight, I know you're an avid watcher of Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. But hang in there. Don't worry about the billboard. Your face looks okay. They even look like they put a little makeup on you to make you look handsome.
Yeah,
But-
they combed his hair, everything. Yeah.
They combed his hair. And Brian Olson, if you're watching the show, I don't think you do watch the show. He lives up in the mountains. I don't even know if they get a signal up there. Come on the show. Talk about your billboards with Cuomo, your billboards with McCoy, and tell us the reasoning behind it. Timmy, I want to jump over to something. It really does upset me. And I know that I say to people all the time, the things that we built up in the city are being, slowly being destroyed. That's my opinion.
Or neglected.
Or,
Neglected.
and that's part of right, neglected, destroyed. I mean, right behind you was one of the
Right.
most beautiful parks, right? And up on the stage, it's all kicked in and dented, and all of the instruments that we put in there are all ripped out of the ground, and the weeds. And
We should have our wall of fame should be up
the
there.
Wall of
That
Fame's not
it's
up. It's-
not
it's a-
done, you know?
right, it's a shit show. But there's one thing that I took great pride in. And I'm a big supporter of the veterans, right?
Yeah,
So ain't
that's
you.
right.
You're a vet. I'm a vet. I really, really, my heart is in the veterans and trying to help them. So when they came to me, Billy Shea and a whole bunch of people, Billy lived with me for 15 years. The dated my mom. He was one of the best guys you'll ever meet in your life. Jack Coonrod, his wife, Randy Knifka. There was a whole bunch of people. Jack McKinney, Leo, all these guys that were trying to build this Veterans Park. And they were struggling. They couldn't get the money to put the final park together. So I went out and helped raise some money. The city put in some money. And I was proud to say, under my watch, this was probably one of the greatest additions to our city. And that park was dedicated, and there was thousands of people there.
Yes.
Timmy, when I tell you, they were 7-8 deep in the road, all the way up the street. You couldn't even you couldn't believe the sea of Cohosiers and other people that were here to see this park.
Yes.
And so when we were getting ready to to dedicate the park and do what we had to do, we came up with the program about honoring a veteran with the flags. We wanted to make sure that some of those people who put their heart and soul into making this happen were recognized, right?
Right.
And I want to show you how the city recognizes them today, because it makes me want to puke. But here's our park, okay? And McKinney Circle is named after one of the veterans that was so instrumental with making this park become a reality, okay?
Yes.
And unfortunately, he passed away just a few months before we were able to open the park.
Yes.
And he would be up there by himself with a wire brush scrubbing the monuments. Just a class act, a man who cared so much about the veterans and wanted them to be recognized.
Yes.
And he passes away. But anybody who walks by, drives by that park, first of all, you got to thank retired firefighter Dave Keene, who I went to when we first built the park and asked if they would donate their time. We were looking for people to mow and keep it really beautiful, right? And Dave was so willing to jump in there and do that. Al Aubin helped for a while. Paul Hiru helped. But Dave Keene has really been the guy, because he lives right across the street.
Yes.
So thank you, Dave, for that. But if you walk by that park and you take a look at the entranceway and you see McKinney Circle, the first thing that you see is a flag that is so tethered, so
Faded
beat
and
up,
worn out. Okay.
so faded, so
Yeah.
worn out.
and that flag is located right there in the eastern.
Well, it is a picture
corner,
of the. It's a picture of the man that we dedicated
Yes.
the park after.
Right. Yes.
So here is the picture of the man who we dedicated McKinney Circle after. Okay.
Yes.
And the mayor of this city has been up to that park on numerous occasions.
Oh, yeah.
We just had a Memorial Day parade, and to think that you would be so, what's the word I want to use? That you're so not proud of your city because you would leave this incredible man and his legacy up in a faded flag that the city's responsible for. Now, I know that they're going to say they're not, because you know why? They don't know what they're doing. They don't pay attention. They don't care. I was a man who paid attention to detail. We started the Hometown Hero program where you could buy flags, you could put them in the circle area inside the park, you could walk through that park, you can see and honor all of these people who gave of themselves. It's just a place of peace. You
Yes.
get down to the circle, you see all these heroes from our city, right? And the plan was Memorial Day, Veterans Day, put up the flags, then have a ceremony to take the ones down, give them to the family, and then put up new
This to
ones
me.
and try to do that on a continuous basis.
Mm-hmm.
But the flag that goes on the pole for McKinney Circle was bought by the city because it is part of the entranceway, the gateway into the park.
Right. Yeah, for that half circle. Yeah.
So the fact that the mayor would walk by that thing and other city officials and nobody cares enough tells me that the little things that matter, the little things that makes a city proud are neglected all over, even when it's a veteran right in your face. And
Yes.
it sickens me, Timmy. I keep
Yep.
I go by there every day. I look over and I say, look at Dave Keene. He's out there trying to keep that park nice. And the city officials could give a shit.
Yeah.
And I hope the veterans, if you are a vet and you're watching the show, send an email to the mayor and ask him if he'd have enough class to replace the flag of the man that honors the entrance of that park, who was up there on his hands and knees scrubbing with a brush,
Yes.
trying to clean the monuments, who's
Yes.
put more time and effort in that park scrubbing on his hands and knees than the mayor's put in this whole city, as you can see with the park behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And send him that email and ask him to put up a new flag and let's be Cohoes proud just for a moment, just so that we can have that park be everything that it should be. And that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, and I do have a paver there, Sean. I got a paver. I'm probably one of the few people that worked flight deck on 2 different aircraft carriers.
Well, thank you for your
Okay.
service, Timmy. You
So-
know that.
And, and I like to go up there and look at the pavers and what people did here and there. And it is a beautiful park, okay? They really take care of it. And you can see the pride that's taking care of that park. You would wish that same pride took care of the city.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where volunteers come in.
Well, I have this. Let me just.
Well,
I was just reading some because we're back on Facebook, and there's a way for people to comment right through Facebook. It says viewer comments not visible when streaming to a Facebook profile unless the Facebook stream is set to public by default. I think I did that. So anyway, but
But I wanted to touch on that too, because when I was talking about no pride, Sean, okay, same thing happened with the opening of the Rock the Block, okay? No big intro, no B95, but not even nothing from the mayor to come on up. Cohoes, let's get going, nothing. It was just the band shows on up. Hey, it's 6:30. It's time to play. There was no pride.
well, there's a difference between loving your community and
Yes.
collecting a paycheck.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, a lot of people just collect paychecks at this point.
yeah, yeah.
Timmy, I want to jump over to something else, and I want to make it very clear that I'm excited to see Cohoes have a little bit of economic development. Not much, but they're starting to roll in this $10 million that the city got, and why I believe some of the projects are just duds. Rumor has it that somebody's looked at the fire site. They didn't put a bid in, but maybe they want to buy the land. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. But I know the IDA announced today that on the Golden Crust Bakery site, there's a tentative opportunity to put Skylar Bakery. Now, Jay used to own Skylar Bakery. Jay, I don't know if you still own it. Skylar Bakery is a great bakery. But I got to tell you, from my perspective, and I think I have a good, keen understanding of how to build a city, right? We brought in about $80 million in economic development, which was about 80 million more than the last 40 years combined. And one of the things that concerns me is that you're taking probably one of the last and the biggest, if you put all the pieces together, buy it all up, and then go out to market, one of the biggest commercial spots left in the city. And while you may be able to put a nice bakery down there and go get some nice baked goods, it's never going to bring in revenue that you need and what the purpose of economic development is. the purpose is you're bringing in stuff that you need and you try to place them in the right places, but you're also trying to build wealth for your community so that the people who live here don't have to pay taxes on top of taxes on top of taxes all the time just to keep their services going, right?
Yeah.
So, while I think the bakery is a nice addition, I certainly wouldn't be putting it there, and I'd be looking to bring them here. I told you we had a project. It was a $40 million project on two different sides of the street, but it was one person. But on that side where the bakery was, it was a $23 million operation. We were buying up all the houses, all the property, all the way back as far as we could go to the Yuki Club. And they were going to put in this great commercial residential space, all commercial on the first floor, residential on the top overlooking the river, a place where like a Skylar Bakery could come and rent and put their business into whatever size building they want. But that whole operation was $23 million. That operation would be paying a couple $100,000 a year in taxes.
Yeah.
How much money is it going to generate for a bakery? Are they going to spend $5, $6, $7 million to build a new bakery?
Well,
Or is it-
and the choices, from what I understood, was something to do with some kind of sports complex, which would not have brought in any money either. And then you still got those two abandoned buildings down there right across from it, which, you have to do something with that. And the people on the island, they're just fed up with apartments.
Yeah, but I get it, but I don't get it because, everybody wants to, I say this all the time, everybody wants to go to heaven, nobody wants to die to get there. If you don't have high-end apartments, you don't have bakeries, you don't have downtowns. The city of Cohoes in a small city cannot support itself and make these things flourish where people can say, oh, I'm moving to Cohoes. You got to understand, people have to have money. You wouldn't build a bakery in a city where everybody's a diabetic and they don't eat sugar. Okay, right? You don't. So you can't ask people to build a business in a city where there's not enough money to help them flourish. Let me just give you an example. I watched the city of Cohoes for years and years and years just trying to bring little businesses on Ransom Street. They'd open, they close, open, close. Nobody was ever successful. Restaurants, bars, I don't give a shit. Nobody was successful. When I took office, there was 19 or 20 empty buildings all the way down.
Yeah, and now you got Anthony's moving right across the street. What sense does that make?
Maybe, but here's what I said. I said everybody's doing it backwards. We have to bring in people that have disposable income. And when the people come and have disposable income, then businesses will come because they can get a piece of that disposable income, right? So we built a $3 million building on Ransom Street. We took the old hotel, turned that into a beautiful market rate. All of the apartments above a lot of those storefronts are absolutely gorgeous, high-end apartments. You have to see them to actually believe them. They're like hidden gems. I mean, they're gorgeous. Okay. So we loaded up downtown with people paying a lot of money for rent because they had money to spend. Danny O, he bought some of the buildings, turned some of those apartments into the most gorgeous apartments. So next thing I know, we have all these people paying $1,900, a month to live in apartments on Ransom Street, which was never done before. And then I went to businesses and say, hey, I got all these young professionals. They have money. Come in, build your business here. They're going to walk out their front door right into your bar, your restaurant. And guess what? All these places took a chance with me, and they were successful overnight. It was going so good that places were looking for other buildings in the city to open a second business. We were looking to build a parking garage because there was no parking on Ransom Street.
Yes.
That was the mindset. Now, people who complain, there's too many rich cars. First of all, Cohoes has enough diverse properties all over, right? They have housing projects, they have low income, they have Section 8, they have middle class, and they have high end. Well, if it was just the middle class who are barely able to pay their bills and maybe go out once a week, how many of those people in the 16,000 populated city are going to be able to spend their money in 7 different places downtown? They're not. So you got to build housing with people that have money. Otherwise, you won't have a downtown. So all the people that are complaining about it, at the end of the day, you know what's going to happen? If they don't do it, Cohoes will close up like an old clamshell again. Businesses are already leaving. Norlight's out of here. Norlight's struggling with the city, and I don't know if they're going to close. You know that Mohawk Paper's leaving, right? Yeah. I was just told. Now, I don't know for sure. I just told the other day that U-Haul's moving out.
Really?
Yeah, I heard I heard U-Haul was going to move up. Now, I don't know if it's rumor or not, so if somebody's watching the show or somebody knows, you certainly can correct us because I'm just hearing some bits and pieces. But I heard they were moving up to Latham Ford.
Wow.
So if we lose U-Haul, if we lose Mohawk Paper, and we lose Norlight, you better build high-end rich apartments that go up 150 stories because you're going to be broke. There won't be firemen. There won't be police. There won't be DPW. There won't be Rock the Blocks. You won't have anything. Everything that I built, okay, came off the backs of private developers and their money, people renting that have high income that could spend. That's where the money came. That's how we were able to keep taxes at zeros. That's how we were able to create Rock the Blocks, bring in 30,000 people into the downtown, make the music hall successful. It doesn't happen without people. So I think they're making a big mistake just building a bakery on a big lot like that. Even if they fill those two houses and fix them, you could put a $20, $30 million development there if you had somebody better than Fat Ass who was in charge of economic development.
Well, look at another thing that what's his name that runs the lofts up there? What's that guy's name again?
Yuri Hoffman?
Yeah. He came in. He made a proposal. Now you know the building on North Mohawk Street with the tower, right?
Yeah.
That the tower. He wanted to take that tower and put $5 million into that tower and make it some kind of high tech in between Saratoga and Albany. Okay, but they couldn't get all the plans and everything on his laptop working on his screen in City Hall because Napier didn't have the right cord. Okay, right. So they couldn't.
He's too busy having a meet and greet for Lee Kinlan.
Right. So all the guy needed was a cord for his laptop to plug into this monitor TV, and he could have showed all the plans. That couldn't do it.
Listen, here's another.
But they want to do something. He said $1.5 million is already there from the state, and he would throw in $3.5 million and do something with that one building there because it has a history and it's got to stay for the most part the way it is.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, I know. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's the little things, attention to detail. The city should have all the cords you need to plug into their freaking TV into a computer.
Yeah, into a laptop. What is it? USBs?
I'll tell you the truth, all they had to do is walk downstairs because the TV I had in the downstairs conference room was hooked up by that USB, and they could have pulled it out and brought it upstairs. But they probably didn't even know that. They probably don't even know how to work it. But let me tell you the one thing that I just got sick and tired of arguing with people about. And most of them have no idea what they're arguing about. They just think they know. And that's a pilot program. Okay? Everybody thinks, oh, you're giving away free money. You're giving it free. First of all, the first developer that I brought to the city, I was walking down the street with him, and he was walking through sidewalks that had weeds growing all out of them. And we got in front of the Cohoes. It was the old Cohoes Theater. Yeah. And it had a tree growing through the roof. Now, try to get that guy to invest $3 million in your city when your movie theater's got a tree growing through the roof. There's sidewalks with bumps and grass, and there hasn't been investment in 40 years, right? Here's how it works, and I'm going to just tell you in the simplest form. I'm not going to do this ever again because I think I did it before. A developer is about making money. Every business that opens in this city is about making money. Everybody who builds a house is about making money.
Yes.
Nobody's doing it for free. Okay? And if I could go to Saratoga and get $2,000 a month for rent, and they're not going to give me a pilot because Saratoga doesn't need it, right? Saratoga's booming. People are lining up. But if I can get $2,000 a month for rent and I have a space I can buy for $5 million, because $5 million is $5 million, whether it's in Cohoes or whether it's in Saratoga. The cost to build it is the cost to build it. If I can get $2,000 a month there, but I go to Cohoes and I can go get $750 a month, why am I going to build a $3 million building in Cohoes?
You're not.
You're not. So when you
Nope.
sit down with a developer and you're trying to bring the city back to life, CPR, breathe life back into the city, you got to get them to come here. You got to get the ball rolling. You got to get somebody to start. And I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't give a shit how many people line up to tell you, oh, they would build anyway. Bullshit, they will. They're not building unless they can make money.
And the
And
pilot
they're not going
stands for right. And the pilot stands for payment in lieu of taxes. Correct.
So exactly. So let's just use, for example, the on White and Ransom Street. It said vacant for 30 years.
Yes.
I'm trying to resurrect the downtown. I'm trying to get people with money to invest. I got to give them an incentive to come here. I sit down with the first investor. He goes, look, it's the same as I just said. He said, Sean, I can go to Saratoga, Colony, Lake. I can go anywhere and make $2,000 a month. I'm not going to get that on Ransom Street. It's full of drugs. It's got trees growing out of roofs, the sidewalks. So we talked about a pilot. And the guy says to me, listen, all I care about is that I'm spending $3 million. I got to make $1,800 to pay the loan and to put money in my pocket and make a little profit. And so you sit down and you say, okay, we'll come up with a pilot. So the pilot that we had with him started out with, okay, $10,000 the first year, $15,000 the fifth year, and then based on how many rentals are moving into your place, and you show us the profitable books every year, then it goes up to after X amount of years, you're paying the full amount. Before he was paying $15,000, before he was paying $20,000, Cohoes was getting zero.
Yeah.
Same thing down with Hudson Square. That was paying $1,200 a year in taxes. Their pilot was $50,000 a year. If I had to get $50,000 a year to support the police, the fire, I'd have to raise your taxes 2.5%. So people need to understand, in the beginning, you got to open up the toolbox. Your dream is to have a city where you go, we don't have pilots here no more because we're full and we're vibrant. Bars are flourishing. The music hall is flourishing. Other businesses are flourishing. People with disposable income are living in the city. Cohoes is on the mend. Cohoes proud. Then you don't have to worry about it. But they're going backwards. And if you don't think about pilots, if you can get somebody to invest $20 million without one, tell me how to do it. You'd be the greatest developer in America. And I'd like to learn from you.
And
But
we'll
I
see what
guarantee you
happens.
it's not going to it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So I would think that, the bakery, I'm glad it's coming. I think it's in the wrong spot. Kaufman, they didn't like him because he had pilots. I was a little boy when that mill up there started rotting away. So weren't you? It
Yeah.
rotted away for 40 years.
You're doing
Bobby
nothing. Yeah.
Signoracci got the money to pave and make that gateway really beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Kaufman's seen the gateway become beautiful and said, wow, this is a beautiful place. I can do these mills. There's all kinds of money for historical buildings. I'm going to invest my millions, but I need a pilot because there's no way that I can afford the taxes on this, plus the millions, plus.
Yeah.
What are you going to say to them? No, we're just going to leave it as a shithole with pigeon shit and make it. No.
Yeah.
It was the first start, and John McDonnell worked out the deal with him, I think, but it was the first start of developing. And then there was a long time in between. But somewhere you got to start. And if the city doesn't recognize that, if the IDA doesn't recognize that, if the people on the zoning board don't recognize it, and the people in the city don't recognize it, then you're going to get what you asked for. And what do you get in the
Yeah.
city, Timmy, that's falling apart? You get 100 kids fighting down on Main Street.
Well, yeah, yeah, and I think we need to talk about the crime that's going on.
Well,
I mean, what most people look at. I'll tell you, last Monday, Sean, I believe it was Monday, there was a raid on North Mohawk Street. Now that raid was right across from the Craner Park backstop or near School Street. They had a SWAT team. They had dogs and everything there, raiding there. There was another police incident right next to City Hall. Then there was a big brawl down on Congress Street, okay, going on. This happened the same time they found Billy, Okay. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on, but crime is on in increase and down on the island. Okay,
It's
a
everywhere.
lot
The
of
city.
they're catching these people going around on their cameras, going door to door, checking around to see if they can't get in. And here's the
Well,
problem, Sean. You can go down to the Cohoes police station, and it's happened to me. You can go down to the Cohoes police station, ask to file a complaint or to press charges, and the police, they discourage you. The judges, they're not going to hear it. They're just going to toss it on out. It's a task to get someone to take a report.
yeah. So here's the problem, Timmy. So the fight that happened down on Congress or Main
Yeah.
Street in that area. I hear 6 or 7 other departments had to come. That's how big it was.
Yes, it was
Right.
huge.
I mean, and it's just so unacceptable. And if you have good policing strategies, and I don't see them anymore, this is what happens. And I get emails sent to me all the time, Ring cameras, guys going up, stealing stuff off the porch, stealing your
Yeah.
packages, trying to get in your door. This is unacceptable. This is
They're
a
doing
small
it-
city.
Right,
Either a
like,
small
oh,
city becomes either a small city becomes a shithole and it's full of crime, or because it's a small city, you should be able to get rid of the crime.
Yeah.
But the cops have fallen into this. The cops have fallen into the raise the age, bail reform vacuum.
Right.
Okay.
And they don't want to take a report. And you know
Well-
what? If that was me, Sean, I would have told that cop there, you're taking a report. If you don't, I'm going to leave here and I'm going to call my council member.
Yeah,
Okay.
or go to the state police or somewhere else.
Somewhere else. Yes.
Because the cops have fallen into the same thing. It has taken police officers and made them feel like I don't have to do any of this stuff because nobody's going to do anything for
About
to
it.
prosecute it.
Yeah.
And I get it because they're discouraged. But
And-
my response to them is your job is not the same as their job. Your job is to take reports and arrest people and let the courts do what the courts do. And if I was still the mayor of this city, I'd say if they arrest them 50 times, if they let them go 50 times, that's not our fault. We'll just keep arresting them.
Yeah.
We'll keep protecting our citizens. We'll make sure they're safe, that their cars ain't getting broke into. We'll walk the beat. We'll make sure nobody's
Yeah.
going up on your porch, and we'll arrest them and we'll fine them and we'll write them up and we'll do everything we can. And if the courts say, sorry, nothing we can do, then I'll start fighting it on the legislative level.
Yeah,
But
because-
you
yeah.
should arrest you as a cop should be taking the reports and doing the job and arresting the people.
Especially when it's crime and you know the person who did it, okay? And all you want to do is say, hey, I want charges against this person, and they won't even take a report. And this is happening right here in Cohoes.
Oh, it's
And
happening
been
all the time.
And you know what, Sean, it's been going on for 5 years. At
If
least.
you want to know why when the cops pull up they go there's nothing we can do, it's because that's what they're brainwashed to believe.
Yes.
Bullshit. That's why I wanted to have David Soares. I invited him on the show. He's not going to come on the show because him and I don't get along, and he
Yeah.
thinks my personal vendetta because he shit all over my family would affect the show, and it wouldn't. But I'll invite him on again. But I want to ask Sheriff Apple that question, right? The question is, how come police start thinking that they don't need to do anything because the courts ain't going to do it?
And that's what's
The
going
courts
on.
ain't going to prosecute. The courts are going to let them go. I get the cops' frustration,
Yeah.
but they're two separate jobs. As
Yeah.
the mayor of a city, my job is to lobby on behalf of the laws that protect us. And if the laws ain't working for us, then we should be screaming and yelling. Your job is to arrest. Arrest him 50 times. I don't give a shit. He lets him go 50 times, then that's my problem. And then we'll have to deal with it then. But I know people are calling me all the time.
Yeah, I
Called
get
the
it all
cops,
the time.
said
Yeah.
there's nothing they can do, nothing they can do, nothing they can do.
All the
There's a
time,
lot.
Sean.
Yeah, there's a lot they can do. They can arrest somebody. That's their job. Don't say there's nothing you can do. Arrest them, and if the courts let them out, that's somebody else's problem.
That's
and
it.
we have to fight that problem on a bigger front with a lot of people, and who you vote for and who you elect is going to play a big part in how safe you and your family are.
Yep.
That's just the
That's
reality.
true. Hey, look, there's also going to be I believe it's going to be June 24, a public safety meeting in which they're going to be talking about ambulance and all that other stuff, okay? For another ambulance contract or something else going on with public safety. And I think the main topic is ambulance. But That's going on the 24th. Okay, and didn't we have that story about that infant?
No, so you know what? That happened when I was in office.
Yeah,
These people, and I don't even know if they were illegal immigrants, what they were,
yeah.
but a little baby died down on I think it was Sargent
Sergeant
Street,
Street, somewhere like that. Yeah.
and he ingested drugs. And you know, I tried to pay close attention to it and talk to the police, but you know, I never got involved in what they did. I'd ask them for a briefing
Yep.
because the news would call and want a briefing. And of course, I wanted to know what the hell was going on because I was a proactive guy and I wanted to make sure that our people were safe. And it was just really confusing. I thought they went to court, and I think they got out, and next thing you know, these people took off, and they're in Mexico or they're hiding
Yeah.
in some other country. But the good news is that we never stopped looking for him, and we never gave up on that little baby who
Yeah.
passed away. Right? We never gave up on that little baby, and he was brought back to the country. He's back in the capital region. He's back in court. And with the love of the good Lord, he'll go to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's in the
But
Albany County Jail now.
Right. He's in the Albany County Jail. And that's on a good note. That shows that stuff can be done, right?
Yep.
We got this border crisis. Timmy, I don't know how many times we have a border crisis. And I'm going to tell you, you know that I think the media is the evil empire, right? I've been
I
telling you
agree.
forever. The media is the evil empire. They try to shape your mind. They only tell you what they want you to know. They spin it so that it affects you. You're thinking about how you think about someone else. You know, Biden is great.
I
Trump
agree.
is
I
bad.
agree.
It's just they're the freaking evil empire. And anybody who watches this show and watches the news knows they're full of lies and they're trying to just twist your brain.
You can't even send a tip down to the news either channel 6, 10, or 13, or they ignore you. Okay.
Yeah, right. And the mainstream media, even the cable media,
Yeah. Yeah.
they are just,
It's
I
not
think, that,
newsworthy
they
to
talk about disinformation. The greatest
Yeah.
disinformation isn't when they lie to us, because we're smart enough to determine when they're lying.
Yes.
You can watch the president and then watch CNN, who says he's full of energy and energetic and he's got all of his wits about him. And then you can watch Fox while he's trying to shake hands with the air. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
You're smart enough to say these people are all full of shit.
Yeah,
the
he freezes
worst,
all the time. Yeah.
yeah, the worst disinformation is when they don't report the news. And we just seen a 13-year-old, two of them, in New York City, brought into the woods by a freaking scumbag illegal immigrant who then sexually assaults them.
Yes.
And you know what? The mainstream media doesn't even cover it, because then it goes against their freaking narrative about people coming across the border. Every single day you're seeing people get raped, murdered, shot, cops getting assaulted, people getting robbed, houses broken in, all by these illegals. And they're not reporting freaking news because they don't want you to know, because it goes against their narrative, Timmy. They don't want you to know all these things are happening because they're telling you how great it is to bring in 10 million people from every prison in the across the countries
And they're letting them vote.
of this world. Every
Right, they're
country
letting them
across
vote.
this world. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's the goal. Let them vote.
Let
But
'em vote.
every country in this world is sending great people over here out of their prisons, out of their nut houses.
Not their
They're not
best.
sending over their scholars and their doctors.
No.
They're saying open the prisons and get rid of all these cuckoos who've been killing our people and send them to the United States. Joe Biden will take them. And the media doesn't report it. And if people don't wake the freak up, the end of the world's on its way, people. It really is. The end times are coming. I believe that. And I'm not some religious cuckoo bird. I just look at what's going on and realize the times, and I don't mean that's the end of the world. I'm saying that the end of our times is coming. The way we live, the way we think, the way we do things it's changing.
It's
Not for the better. It's changing for the rich, powerful billionaires who want to make sure that all the Democrats are in power. And I'm a Democrat, so please don't think like I'm some, staunch Republican who hates Democrats. I've been a Democrat my whole life, but I'm watching what's unfolding. And all these billionaires, that Bill Gates, the best thing that can happen to Bill Gates is he gets hit over the head with one of his own machines that he's trying to stop the sun from shining into the world because of global warming, or he wants your cow to
get rid of
cows farting.
Because your cows are farting. Yeah.
I mean, this guy's nuts. That's the best thing that can happen. Maybe a cow should fart on him.
I'm going to take a second real quick and say, hello, Mary DeFury. You just chimed in 5 minutes ago. So, Sean, I'm seeing a couple posts, but not very many.
No, I think that, Facebook took everybody off. Now they're letting you back on. So I'm going to have to go back in and figure out how to maneuver some changes that they made.
Yeah.
Everything, I look at the one thing I'm not is a tech guy.
Yeah.
And so instead of just saying, hey, if you want to just push this button, they got 16 pages of stuff that they want you to do just to get somebody to be able to respond to you.
They made it very, it's a task.
Everything's a freaking task.
Yeah,
but I can tell you that there's 1,750 people watching the show right now, which is a little lower than we usually get, but it's 100 degrees in the summer.
Everybody's out in their pool.
Last week, we got a notification that we hit 60,000 views last month, which that's 10,000 more than the month before. So that's been fantastic. Yeah. So, hey, we're going along. We're plugging along. People are plugging along with us. We're just talking about everyday bullshit. Two guys trying to give you the news about their city and what's going on in the capital region. And we sparkle, or should I say sprinkle, not sparkle. We sprinkle. We sprinkle, not sparkle.
Sprinkle. Well, you're not thinking right since Miley hit that.
Miley hit me in the bells. I can't think sprinkles from sparkle.
You're right. You're still a little rattled.
I'm still a little rattled, is right. But we sprinkle in some stuff about the federal government and the country because it all shit rolls downhill. I just said it before. 4 square miles of Cohoes can either be a utopia or be a crime-ridden city, and it happens this quick.
And here's what.
And we're moving towards the crime-ridden city.
And here's what really troubles me of all things. Okay, in Cohoes, Sean, this is the one thing I can't wrap my head around. Here we have 2 islands, Simmons Island and Van Skyke Island, and we don't have any public access to the Mohawk River, which is pristine water, okay? And the Hudson River, no access to the waterways. Yet people who live on the island, that's their biggest beef. They can't do canoeing and picnicking and get access to the water. What
I can tell you, well, I know because part of I can't tell you how saddened I am to see some of the projects that I put forth and what they turned into. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, I don't care if you're a rich developer or not, you got to stay on top of these people.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to make sure that these people are keeping up with what they made promises of.
Yes.
Okay? So if you made a promise that this was going to be A, and then nobody's paying attention, so quick buck, make it a B, now you have all these problems. But, when we built some housing on the island, there was supposed to be part of that was the water access. Now, I don't think that it's something that wouldn't happen, but I bet you the mayor's never gone to the people and said, "Hey, what's up with the water access?"
Yeah. Well,
now we talked about
members as well. Okay.
Right. Nobody's.
It's at 70 Delaware. They actually built the road and they got these benches and everything all along the way because there's supposed to be a dock there.
Todd Curley, they were going to put in docks. They were going to put in boat slips. They were going to put in. No, but I bet you if you went to him and said, "Hey, how come this hasn't happened?" he'd get it going.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I'm trying to make money. I don't want to invest another $250,000. Yeah. But if I made a commitment to do it, and the city comes to me and says, "Hey, when you're going to get that done?" I'm going to be forced to do it.
Yeah.
Todd Curley is one of the greatest guys I've ever met. He, without these people investing in this city, we'd be closed up by now.
And I think that's part of the reason why people on the island are a little spooked with building at 50 Delaware because they want some kind of access to the water, and they didn't get it up the road. and they're afraid whatever goes in there again, whatever promises are made are not going to be fulfilled because
Well,
they got
talk to your
burned.
mayor.
Yeah, they
Well,
got burned.
I don't think they got burnt, Timmy.
I do.
First and foremost, it ain't a developer's. A developer has no obligation to get you into the freaking water.
But if they
Okay,
make a promise,
But-
they do.
if they make a promise, they do.
And
I
that's all
agree.
I'm saying.
But I don't know what kind of promises were made after I left because it ain't even the same type of housing that it was going to be
Yeah,
when
but
I
if
was
they-
here.
Right. So if they don't make a promise, I'm cool with that. But
Well,
don't
I don't-
say you're going to do this and then don't do it.
I don't know who made a promise. I could tell you when I was there, the goal was to get a commercial spot. They have a sign up for commercial spot.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
weren't going to build a commercial spot. They were trying to get somebody to lease or bring the business in. They would build the building.
Yes, that's true.
You don't just build the spot and
And
waste
they
your
got,
money.
right, and they got a sign there saying,
Right.
we'll
But the
build
city's
it too.
supposed to be out there hustling to get the commercial spot.
Right, and they're
Not
not.
them. They just made the commitment that if you find it, they'll build,
Yeah,
which is a big deal for people looking to put a commercial spot down there.
yeah,
I don't know what happened. I can tell you that some of the people living in these places would never be living here if I was the mayor. Hudson, the building
Square?
across, right?
Hudson Square.
No, Hudson Square is a great place. That's fine. I'm talking about across the street from Cumberland Farms.
Yeah, that's they call that the Delaware or something.
It was the Delaware project. That project was supposed to be market rate and a small amount of seniors. And Catholic Charities put some money into that because seniors never get to live in nice places. They're old and they don't have a lot of money, right? So one tower was going to be completely market rate. The other one was going to be market rate half, and the other half was going to be seniors. Somehow after I left, I don't know how it happened, but you're getting sex offenders and all these other people living there.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, that only happens because...
right. It's so bad that Cumberland Farms had to hire their own security.
Well, how come Bill Killer don't walk down there and talk to the owners and say, look, we're not... Timmy, I'm going to tell you what I was trying to put in.
He's in his own bubble. You know that. He doesn't see the crime.
I was trying to put in place a requirement that every commercial operation had a permit to work in the city of Cohoes, right? And we were going to give the permits for free for all the businesses that were here, and then it was going to be X amount of money for the businesses after they moved in. And then every 3 years was going to be like $15, and all that money was going to go into some business fund so we could try to help businesses, right? But the goal of that was we have zero accountability for businesses that are just the business that moves into somebody else's building, and you walk down and there's garbage and there's shit all over the place and the garbage cans are overflowing. I mean, it's an embarrassment. It's a pigsty.
Yes. I see
And
that.
there's nothing you can do. So I was fining the company that owns the little strip mall $800 a day. They live in California.
Right. Wow.
So they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll get it to you. Like, they don't even care, right? But the companies that were letting it happen, the businesses that were inside those buildings, they did care. And if they were required to have a permit, I would have went to that business and said, you either have till tomorrow to clean up that mess, or we pull your permit, you shut your doors, you don't operate your business until it's cleaned up. Like that little Munchie store where there's all kinds of crime in front of it. All kinds of crime there all the time. 4 cops down there today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd pull their permit and say you're violating this, this, and this because the permit was about cleanliness, safety, a whole bunch of stuff that you had to be responsible for as the business.
And
Because I knew the only way to clean up all these businesses that were operating out of buildings that were owned by corporations and LLCs and you know, all over the country, I went down to the dollar store. Garbage everywhere. Pigsty. That's why I would have never put that in our downtown, just so you know. I don't think it breeds anything but problems. But I'll close you with this. If I had those permits, those businesses would have been spick and span. The code enforcement would have been up there all the time. There wouldn't be garbage on the streets. You let garbage on the streets, you have broken windows, you have cops that won't do nothing, you have a city administration that turns a blind eye, you let your parks look like shit. You can guarantee crime is coming,
And it's
because
here.
that's where crime comes, to places that look neglected.
It's
When
here.
things look like shiny shoes, they go, we don't want to go there. And we didn't have crime, Timmy. Our crime was almost nothing. We had murders. And I will tell you right now, I don't give a shit what city you're in. The murders that we had when I was mayor, one happened inside of a house between a boyfriend and a girlfriend that lived here for a week. Well, cops can't see what goes on in your house. One was up on the dark bike path, okay?
Yeah.
Way outside of where people are that are meeting doing bad things, okay? And the other one was another house inside of another house where it was a setup for drugs or whatever, and somebody got killed. But when it came to the safety of you and your wife and your kids walking the streets in this city, when it came to going to bed at night thinking nobody's going to come up on your porch and rob you, none of that shit was happening, because we had the best policing strategies. We had cops walking the beat. We had everybody out doing something all the time to make sure that the city was safe. That's not happening. I hope that
and we lost 23 police over the last 3 years. They're just
everybody's bailing out in this city.
everybody's bailing out, and so is DBW. Okay, everybody's bailing out, Sean. It's that bad.
Yeah. On that note, Timmy, I'm bailing out too, and it was good to see you again.
We'll see
Thank you
next
for
week.
watching the show, and we'll see you next week.
Okie doke.
Take care, Timmy.